if we have more story to tell.
Celebrate good times, come on! Or is it? It is finally here. We are at the final decision day, not the decision day, the final decision day, because there have been two, because we decided that Michael gets a second chance. So decision day number 2, what's going to happen? Are we going to get 1 out of 5, or are we going 0 for 5? Now, of course, if you've probably already watched the episode, I get it. But are we going to, if you haven't watched the episode, what do you think? Are we going to get 1? Can we get 1? Just 1? Probably not, because guess what? At its core, matchmaking is simply throwing stuff at a wall, hoping it sticks. There's no rhyme or reason, and these experts sure as hell don't have any rhyme or reason, so we will see. But first, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications for new videos. I definitely appreciate the support. We are 20 subscribers away. That is it, to 500, halfway to that 1,000. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Looking at that live show. And you know what? Next week, we're starting with the reunion. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. The madness that ensues, I can't wait. So please hit the subscribe, show your support. I definitely appreciate it. Getting into it, this was a Michael heavy episode. Michael and Chloe heavy episode. Of course it was. It was their decision day. But they had to throw in there the other couples. We didn't really see much of Brennan. He was out doing whatever. We didn't see really much of Cameron, or we didn't see Cameron at all. Claire, very briefly, in their boudoir shoot, which I'm not even getting into that, but interesting to say the least. But we didn't see much of them. So touching on the other couples, starting with Emily and Brennan, which is really just Emily and her views, which kind of eclipses everything. Now, I know I've heard that some things were revealed in the after party, and I notoriously haven't watched the after party much. Starting with next season, I may have to throw that into the mix, because apparently some very interesting things happen on the after party, but even so, apparently some interesting things maybe were revealed. Truth or not, I don't know. Either way, no one is innocent in this episode. No one was ready for marriage. The only way the show works is if you actually have people who are ready. You did not have a single person on here, I don't believe, that was truly ready for marriage. Now, some people were more at fault than others in the relationship, but I don't believe you actually had someone that was ready. I could be wrong. I don't believe it's true, because in a situation like this, you have to be 100% ready. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Getting into Emily and Brennan. She had some interesting things to say.
Brennan only told me he
Where's
wasn't
he at?
coming here. He had softball to do today.
And the sarcasm.
That's all I know about Brennan.
Dedication to the team, man.
Sarcasm.
Can't let that intramural sports team down. Okay.
You know, I gotta say though, this is the thing about it, is like, he had a lot of faults, but I do believe some of the things he said from behind the scenes. I do, such as the whole deleting the diary thing. I think there could be some truth to that. Now, he was a douche, so whatever, you can hate on me if you want, but he was a douche. But he did, I think, kind of get the short end of the stick on this, and they definitely favored Emily, where they probably could have showed her faults a little bit more. That being said, obviously he did things a lot wrong, and they were not meant to be together. But, of course, she's hurt. I get it because of some of the things he did, but the sarcasm never leaves. It never leaves. Reconciliation? I think not.
Prioritization for
What
the members
prioritization?
of women was in different areas.
And why is that?
We were marriage priority 1, priorities for you individually, your reputation.
Yeah. Okay, come on. So this is the thing. She's saying that she is the all knowing of marriage, apparently, because she's everyone, all you men were not ready, but us women were ready. Okay, you may have been more ready than them. Maybe I'll give you that. But for her, a person who had never been past a third date, never had a boyfriend, to try to make it seem like she was completely ready for marriage, that's just being dishonest. At least be honest and say, I get it. Maybe we all could have had some things we could have learned. Maybe none of us were ready. Maybe we all had our faults. Or maybe I wasn't 100% ready. Even if you want to say Brennan was worse. And I have acknowledged at most times in the season that he was worse on a lot of levels. But for her to act like, you know what though? We're so much better. It became a women versus men thing instead of a this doesn't work because the experts chose people who were not ready. You know what? Whose fault this was? This is the experts. Yes, the men were douchebags at points. Yes, the women had faults at points. But the real fault was at the experts. Because guess what? They were choosing for ratings. Shocker.
Oh, I love your eyes too.
They're talking about what's the favorite part about themselves.
My least favorite part is probably like my hips.
Explain.
They're just wide.
Okay, let me explain something. This is from a man's perspective, okay? I get it. There are, it's problems with bodies. Men have problem with their bodies too. We look in, we want to be the muscular guy or whatever. We have plenty of self-esteem issues. We don't necessarily bring it up as much, but it is there. But let me explain something about the hips thing. Naturally, men are attracted to hips because of the childbearing factor. If you really want to go back old times, they were called childbearing hips. Now, of course, times have changed. It's not the same thing as, man grab woman, make babies. Now, it's an instinctive nature in a sense, but it's not the same. But the instinct of we like wide hips typically as an instinctual kind of thing is there. So I'm just trying to put you at ease a little bit. If you're a little worried about that, don't be. Now, easier said than done, I get it, but let me just say that is not something you need to worry about as much as you put emphasis on it. But just that's kind of a little side point. So other than that, I do feel bad for Emily and a lot of the stuff that went on. I don't know about the cheating thing. Like I said, haven't really looked into it that much, so I could be completely wrong about her. But I do feel bad about how some of the things were done, how Brennan seemed to kind of check out after the honeymoon. There's never going to be a reconciliation. It'll be interesting to see at the reunion how that happens or what happens there. I assume some more madness is going to come out, and I think it will be glorious. I really do. Until then, nothing but the best wishes for both of you, of course. I hope you actually find someone you want to marry and actually have happiness. Emily has to change some of her ways. She's going exactly back to where she was, traveling the world, potentially jumping from bed to bed. She said she's not, but she's kind of fallen back in those old patterns. Brennan didn't really seem to have a change in his personality, so I think both of them have a lot of stuff to do, a lot of growing to do, if anything is gonna change. Anyways, moving on to Becca and Austin. Brief little recap of them or kind of where they're at. Nothing major, but, of course, they're kind of nothing's gonna happen with them. I think they're in a better place, but they need to just be apart from each other. That's pretty clear.
Feelings don't just go away.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Where
still
was
not
this?
over it. Every
Where was
day
this,
is getting
Austin?
better, but it's still hard.
Okay, yes, it's hard. I get it. Even if you were the one that was checked out of the relationship, grass ain't always greener, all that kind of stuff. I get it. And that's probably kind of one thing he's thinking. But at the same time, dude, you were the one that checked out, or at least it really appeared so. So talking about the feelings just don't go away, then why are you there? Is this a contractual obligation? And maybe it is. Maybe it is. But that ain't healthy either. If this is some kind of contractual obligation, they have to be there. It's like, obviously, the show, the experts, whatever, don't care about the couples. Because no matter who was at fault, if you're trying to get over a breakup, being around that person probably isn't the best thing in the world.
I love him as a person. I just know that we're not.
This is what I'm
supposed to be
talking
together,
about.
and that's really hard.
This is what I'm talking about. You're emotional already.
And
It's you love him as a person. You just know you're not supposed to be together. You're at a bar. The idea of this is let's have a good time, but you're at a bar, and yet here we are in a therapy session because you're emotional, because you're around him again, because you just were in a breakup. As quick as it was, as quick as the relationship was, you were still in a breakup. Not the smartest thing to be around these people. Of course, the show has to get ratings. The show has to make TV. I get it. That's how it stays on the air. That's how it continues to make entertainment. That's how it continues to be put out. But it's not good for the person. If this is really about a relationship and really about growth and really about moving on when you don't make it, which it obviously is not. I really don't have a lot of crazy bad things to say about Austin or Becca. I think in the beginning, Becca had some faults. I've mentioned it. Towards the end, it was more Austin with the intimacy and brushing her off and then the whole producer thing. Yes, they were not meant to be. They both made mistakes. Austin more than Becca towards the end there, for sure. I don't think either one of them are bad people. And I don't think it's doing any favors to be around each other. Not at all. but yet we have to make the TV show, right? I mean, look, I am fully acknowledging that I would not have these videos to make if the TV show was not on. So please bring on the entertainment. But we also have to be honest about the fact that it's not good for the people and it's not helping anyone relationship-wise. It just isn't. I can't wait for the reunion. It's all going to be fireworks, sparks, whatever you want to say. It is going to be magnificent. And I got to say it after each couple because it's going to be great. All right. So, of course, Orion, my God, the whole season I'm still... Orion and Lauren, of course, had to make an appearance for one last good time. Well, I take that back because they're going to be in the reunion. But one last good old, let's get back and forth with them. Of course, because we just got to keep throwing them in there because it's important, I guess. Whatever. Of course, you're going to piggyback. They were talking about Lauren. They were talking about Lauren with positive things.
I mean, it has been seen in various moments, but, one thing that is clear is that I do hold you in very high regard.
What the?
You're a very smart,
what are you talking about, man? What are you doing? What are you doing here? I mean, listen, she has plenty of her faults, but what is Orion doing? It's just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, the whole thing was, okay, I broke up because I wasn't feeling it, because you said some remark that was freaking dumb as hell. I'm still pissed about because it was so damn stupid about the redskin thing. And then it was like, oh, but, the whole sleeping with people thing, but I'm trying to push you away, but I want to be friends, but I want to pull back, but I want to do this, but I want to do that. What the hell are you doing? Like, it's ridiculous what I don't know what he is trying to do here. It's like every time he goes back home after a shoot and is like, yeah, I really didn't look that good. I need to try to make it better. And then like, hey, we do need to be friends. It's the dumbest crap I've ever seen.
Just tired of waiting for follow-through.
Of course you're tired of waiting for follow-through.
I've kind of just set boundaries and checked out myself.
Smart.
Yeah, still trying to wrap my head around that message, but...
Hey,
okay.
take as long as you want. 9 days, 9 years.
So,
You want him?
This is the crazy part. So what happened? She sent a text message after supposedly they were supposed to be friends and said, you know what? I can't do this back. Whatever she said. I can't do the back and forth, whatever. I think it's better if we just sever it, whatever. He sent a message back saying, I am trying to think rationally before I respond, or whatever the hell he said. And yet he hasn't responded. So that's where we're at, which is hilarious because what was the point? I mean, she makes that point. What was the point of saying that? Just don't respond. Just be done with it. You've said you didn't want the divorce. Why are you so invested in trying to be a friend? It's the dumbest crap ever. All it is hurting everyone involved. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Come to you at the couples retreat
Meeting up?
asking for a friendship.
Conversation about anything.
What?
So...
Huh.
Okay, I feel very attacked for some reason.
And you lost me. This is the thing. Look, he is a freaking idiot, of course. But this is what they do. Validate feelings. Triggered. I feel attacked. You weren't attacked. Okay? Let's get this straight. You were not attacked. He might have been being an idiot by being like, let's be friends, let's not. You're not attacked. Like, okay, because he said, I don't know about the text message. I didn't send 9 days. Whatever the hell he was talking about, you are not being attacked right now. Orion is a douchebag. He is 100%. But when you just turned it on and tried to make it seem like you were a victim in a sense where you're not, where, by the way, I was on your side a lot about the whole redskin thing. I thought that was completely blown out of proportion. It was stupid. He didn't have the history correct, and it was all dumb, and yet he tried to use that to be a victim and then try to get out of the marriage. It was the stupidest crap I've ever seen. I was 100% on your side with that. And then you want to say, I feel like a victim because he said, it wasn't the way I thought it would be, or whatever dumb thing Orion said, which was stupid. You are not attacked. You are not a victim. He is not a victim. You two were never meant to be together, and it was always going to end in disaster. So here we are again, playing the same scenario out. It is dumb and stupid.
You're taking your...
pretty stressful
Can I
honeymoon,
finish?
yeah.
On day 5, you're telling me
Can
thank
I
you for
finish,
your
please?
patience with me. On day 6, you're saying I don't have your back.
Yeah.
So how can you say you tried when you're lying
He
to me the
didn't
whole
try.
honeymoon,
He didn't
Orion?
try.
Because if you checked out day 2, then check out.
So he said, I checked out on day 2. I was done on day 2. And yet you tried to carry it on because that was a douchebag move. Now, she's not attacked, he's not attacked, but of course, he's playing whatever the hell games he's playing. You know what it is, though? He's trying to make himself look good. He's trying to retroactively change things to change the public's perception. And that's exactly what it is. It all is about appearance. It has been a lot on this show. You know, that is one of the faults I will say that the men have had, in that they're trying to look a certain way for the camera and not try to look negative to America. That is a problem. Girls have their faults. Men have their faults on the show. That was one of the men faults, is most, except for maybe Cameron and Michael. So the other three, Orion, Brennan, and Austin, had their points of trying to look good for the camera. So, and trying to fix it after the fact just ain't gonna work. She gonna call you out on it. That's true. The victim card was dumb as hell, but she's gonna call you out on it. You're an idiot. She's an idiot. Sometimes you're an idiot most of the time. It's ridiculous. Now he goes on to say, I'm sorry if I did that. Of course, trying to save face again. It's dumb. It's dumb. So I'm curious again. Reunion? Sparks? Fireworks? Nah, not fire. It's gonna be like salt and vinegar. Whereas I like salt and vinegar chips, but it's gonna be like salt and vinegar. And we get to Michael and Chloe, which is the main one of this episode because it's their decision today. Well, I've developed a stutter because it's that insane. It's their decision day, the final decision day. Here we are. Is it gonna last? Is it not? If you haven't seen the episode, what do you think? Interesting concept considering none of the other couples have lasted. So in a sense, you kind of want at least one to make it. I mean, I know that the show is kind of BS because they're not really choosing for love. But at the same time, you're like, come on, are none going to make it really?
So that's what I'm hoping, that those feelings will outweigh the negative feelings.
Do they right now?
The negative
Do they
feelings.
outweigh them right
I don't
now?
have a clear answer at this point in time.
Okay, that's the problem. If you're at this point in time and you're about to be decision day or whatever, at this point when he's talking to his friend, it's a day or two away or whatever. If you're at this point in this process and you're saying, I don't know, you know that's your answer. Now, I get it. This is expedited, but you do choose to love someone every single day. That is what you make that decision. So if you came into this truly ready for marriage, you're going to decide to love that person every day. Work at that marriage every single day. None of them came in with that mindset. They came in like, I'm dating, but it's kind of enhanced. That was their mindset. Almost every one of them. I can't really think of any of them that it really wasn't that mindset. Almost every one of them was dating, but a little like, it's like we're super dating. That's kind of what it is, because we're married, but it doesn't feel like we're married. So it's kind of crazy. But the mindset's got to change. The experts have to truly choose people who are ready for marriage. Now, what that means, I don't know. How about bringing in a body language expert to read people in the interviews to see if they're lying to you? But they're not going to do that because it doesn't make for good TV if everyone works out. It just doesn't.
That you know. Is she kind? Is she kind to others? Yeah. Does she make you laugh? Do you make her laugh?
These are important things.
I get that your problems are more internal, and I totally understand that.
But is he going to be ready for a marriage, though? That is the question. His friend is giving him some really good insight, saying, look at the positives. Do you make each other laugh? Happiness, all these things that you look at for a marriage, and basically telling him, you have some things you need to work out inside of you. Are you ready for a marriage? Because you're in this. You need to figure out you need to take those things inside of you, what you feel of this person, and roll it into the marriage instead of looking at every single negative. His friend actually was giving some really good insight. Does it work out? I don't know. No one in the show has really listened to anyone that might have had something good to say. And there's been a few. Granted, there's been some that have really listened to the other people, like, I don't know, people listening to Orion or people listening to Brennan in the wrong times. That doesn't really work out exactly.
I never thought, for example, that marriage equals sacrificing your independence. What? I don't believe that.
What?
But I do believe in...
Okay, listen. My independence for so long, I never thought that marriage meant sacrificing your independence. That is an interesting question. That is an interesting statement. It is not sacrificing your independence per se, but it is on some level, because when you get married to someone, when you have a relationship that you are completely committed in, you do sacrifice some of your independence, because especially when you're married, you are committing to put that person first. As a man, I am committing to protect my wife. I am committing to die for my wife, for my kids. That is my commitment. That sacrifices my independence. And you know what? It is liberating to sacrifice something of yourself for someone else. It is a great feeling to have a selfless aspect. And you know what? If you're in a good marriage, your wife does the same. She sacrifices for you. She gives up for you to make the marriage work. It's about compromise. That's what it is. I'm not saying you can't go out and have your time with your friends or anything like that. No. But at its core, you do have a sacrifice in a marriage. You have to. If you're just two independent people, it is not going to work. You are coming together as one in a sense. And that's important. So his mindset is not a good mindset to go into a marriage. Because he's thinking, I'm either all independent or I'm all locked down, instead of thinking, there is a lot of liberation and sacrifice, and I still can have my independence. I mean, he still wears his damn skirts. There's your independence right there, buddy.
Making me realize just how
what?
Much I want to do life with someone.
She said, she had this whole lead up, you know, being with you is making me realize just how much and you think she's going to say love you. And she says, how much I want to do life with someone. These signs leading up to the decision day are not boding well for someone looking on thinking, oh, maybe they'll last. It's not looking good. I'm not going to lie. These are not good signs. Complaining about your independence, saying, I've never known how much I want to do life with someone. Of all the things you don't want to hear when you're leading up to a decision of staying married or divorced, it's want to do life with someone. No, you want to hear, I love you. I'm deeply in love with you. I get it. Short-term thing. That's hard. I get it. But just not always the right things to say in these instances.
And adopting kiddos and fostering kiddos. I mean, these were all me
things.
Journeys.
Okay.
But then when I became a we, things change.
When did things change? You were literally just talking about, I want to have an animal sanctuary. I want to adopt 5 kids, all teenagers, 500 animals. And yet, in this moment right now, you decided that things change. You were still talking of, he was saying his concern in the bar about, it's kind of a lot. It's a little scary for me. 5 kids fostering at once. Not adopting, fostering at once. And then an animal sanctuary of all these animals. It's a little nervous. And now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I think that I'm adjusting. Like since 3 days ago? Like this screams to me trying to change the perception for the camera. Like I've seen that several times. Like from the men trying to change the perception to the women trying to play up emotions a little bit. Like, of course, this is the problem with this. I'm not saying any of them were like in it for the fame. I don't truly believe that in this. Maybe sometimes in some of these shows there are. In this one, I didn't really see that. I think it's just hard to get past the cameras. It is. It is a hard thing. Now, I don't agree with some of the stuff of, oh, we're going to delete some, some diary cam footage. There's some speculation of that, whether that was really how it went. But if any of that happened, I don't necessarily agree with that, per se, if you're trying to change the perception. But not being able to completely be in it because of the cameras is tough. But you do sign up for it, so there's only so much sympathy there.
Period.
It's time.
At the end of the
It's
story,
time.
or is it a comma with more to tell?
I don't know. Is it?
And I made a promise to you that I would not.
You did make a promise.
Make this decision until I was sitting right here looking at you.
Okay.
And I'm really glad I made that promise.
Why is that?
Because I'm feeling really differently.
What?
Than I anticipated feeling.
And?
And I think I want to see if we have more story to tell.
Celebrate good times, come on! Or is it? So she wants to stay married, but what's he gonna say? Okay, at this point though, I will say, She literally just changed some of the things she said with the animal sanctuary, with the whole adopting kids things, like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm changing things and I decided to make this decision on decision day. Yet you had all these doubts leading up, yet it seemed like you were trying to push him away leading up. This screams to me potentially saving face, like not wanting to give any rejection vibes from herself. But let's see what Michael has to say. Michael's turn.
I feel
everyone is somber. What?
I have to lean into what my compass has been, and that's
what is
just
that?
how I feel about
What?
the ability to develop and work on a marriage.
No confidence in a marriage.
And I just don't feel that I can do that.
Okay. The shocker of all shockers. Michael says no. Or, like a shocker to nobody, because this was never gonna last. You know what probably happened? They probably had a conversation off camera, decided they weren't for it, and then she decided, okay, I'm gonna go in and say, yeah, or maybe he said, oh, I'll let you save face and say, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Well, no, okay, that's a conspiracy theory. I get it. Probably didn't happen. I think really what happened is that Chloe read the room. She knew that Michael wasn't going to decide, and she decided, even though she seemed not interested at all, and she even just admitted, like, I said I wasn't going to make this decision until I was sitting right here with you, which is that's like the worst method you can think of. Like, no, you don't just make a decision right there on the fly. That's like every handbook on life anywhere. No. So she decided, I think a long time ago, she wasn't going to do it. She read the room, saw that he probably wasn't going to decide, and took the gambles. Like, there's probably only about a 30% chance he says yes. So I'm going to say yes, and then he can be the one to reject me. And it worked. Either way, I don't really feel bad for him because he got left at the altar, whatever. I still think it might have been some producer that they sent up there to set up this whole storyline. But I felt bad about it. Now I don't, because your whole thing was, I was ready. I'm ready for a second one, although I didn't tell my mom, which was weird. And now all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but I was never really ready for marriage. I got to go with my compass. So come on, man. I don't feel bad for you. You weren't ready. Chloe wasn't ready. She's not innocent in this. None of them were ready. And now the experts are 0 for 5. This is why this reunion is probably going to be one of the most interesting ones yet, because this is the most ridiculous season in the sense of they literally could not make a match to save their life. No one was ready for marriage. No one was like someone that was really a bleeding heart 100% in this. No, they weren't. I don't know what they thought. Like I said, I think they thought it was like enhanced dating or something, but it was never going to work. And here we are. No one makes it. Celebration. Gosh. But you know what? Everyone saw this from a mile away. The only really ones I thought, in the beginning, Austin and Becca, I thought might have had a shot, but that kind of fell apart quick. Other than that, though, it was questionable at best for all of them. And throughout, it just got worse and worse and worse. And alas, here we are today. Next week, they're doing a reunion special with all the cast. That should be interesting. And then the reunion of the next week of this show. So we got a few interesting episodes coming up. Let's get to that 1,000, because once we do, it's a live show, and I am looking forward to that. You know what? I have really been looking forward to that live show. It's probably going to be a little bit later on Thursdays, because Thursday seems to be the good day. So we're going to do it then. Keep subscribing. I appreciate it. Like, comment, hit the bell so you get notifications for new videos. Thank you so much for the support, and I will see y'all next week.